सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. ॐ
Therefore, let him who would know the Atman, which is the reality, practice discrimination. But first he must approach a teacher who is a perfect knower of Brahman, and whose compassion is as vast as the ocean itself. Success in attaining the goal depends chiefly upon the qualifications of the seeker. Suitable time, place, and other such circumstances are aids to its attainment. In this connection, the sages have spoken of 4 qualifications for attainment. When these are present, devotion to the reality will become complete. When they are absent, it will fail. First is mentioned discrimination between the eternal and the non-eternal. Next comes renunciation of the enjoyment of the fruits of action, here and thereafter. Then come the 6 treasures of virtue, beginning with tranquility. And last, certainly, is the longing for liberation. Brahman is real, the universe is unreal. A firm conviction that this is so is called discrimination between the eternal and the non-eternal.
Okay, thank you very much, Andrew. So are there any questions or we can continue with some of the transcript reading commentaries of my Guru Swami Paramarthananda?
I've got a question, but maybe somebody else can go first if they want. No. It's actually from slightly before in the text. It's actually just the verse before, verse 5. And in the commentary, Swamiji says, increasing meditation cannot become a replacement for self-inquiry. But I thought meditation was a place that you did self-inquiry. It seems it's like in the text there's a division between scriptural study as self-inquiry and meditation as self-inquiry. So, but when you're meditating, aren't you engaging in self-inquiry?
Yes, this is a very, very important topic because most of the people, they believe that either with scriptural study alone or with meditation alone, they can have what we call self-knowledge or jnana. But in reality, these two are like 2 pillars. Both of them we need. And plus, not that we need only 2 of them, we need also the pillar of following the Dharma Sastra. We need also to do Sravanam and Mananam. And Sravanam, of course, means that you study the scriptures through the competent guru guidance. And you listen to the teachings of the guru. And then we have Mananam, where you can say your doubts, you can discuss your doubts in a satsanga with the guru and ask the questions until all that you have received from Sravanam, from the study of the scriptures and from the teaching, which is based, of course, in the scriptures from the guru, then you are ready to move on to the state of enough preparation for meditation. And in our path, in Advaita Vedanta Guru Parampara, we call it Vedantic meditation or Nididhyasanam. So in our Guru Parampara, we never start with meditation. Why? Because if you do meditation without a direction, without a context, then your meditation will be only a kind of relaxation or a kind of deep peace. But that is not enough for self-knowledge. So even if you study, let's say, the Bhagavad Gita as a foundational scripture, you can see that after the 6th chapter, there is the concept of meditation. For the first 6 chapters, there is a kind of preparation for the sishya, for the student, the disciple. So in contrary, with other spiritual paths, we have this big difference in Advaita Vedanta. We don't suggest meditation before somebody is prepared enough and have enough foundation with Sravanam and Mananam. So you do these 2 first procedures, Sravanam and Mananam, and then you have something to work. You have something to do in your meditation. So in Nididhyasanam, you will use Mahavakyams from the Upadesa that you have received from the Guru and the Guru Parampara. This is called Mahavakyams or Mahavakya Upadesa, such as Aham Brahmasmi or Tat Tvamasi. I'm Brahman or I'm that, and so many others. And then you direct your meditation in internalization of the Mahavakyams. So there is a big difference with other spiritual paths. And according to Sanatana Dharma in general, and in particular in Advaita Vedanta path and our Guru Parampara, it is a big mistake to do meditation without the previous 2 procedures, Sravanam and Mananam. And also you have to combine these procedures with a moral, spiritual lifestyle or a dharmic lifestyle based on the Dharma Sastra. And moreover, the meditation will then have fruits, because you don't try to find out without a context. You don't try to stay just in silence and enjoy peace and or relaxation. This is not the purpose of meditation. Millions and millions of people, they believe that meditation is to enjoy peace or silence. But meditation is not that, at least in our Guru Parampara. Meditation is to internalize the Sravanam and Mananam, and especially Mahavakyams, such as Aham Brahmasmi, and soak up yourself in this truth. Make this truth that there is only Brahman, and Brahman I am, infinite, impersonal awareness, consciousness. This is what I am. And now it is not only an information for me, it is not data that I have received from somebody, or by reading a book, or by listening or watching a video in YouTube. This Aham Brahmasmi should be your own truth in the heart of your heart, and to internalize it, to pass it into what we call the subconscious mind. So then you have a whole procedure to be done, which will for sure and in guarantee bring self-realization. I don't know if you want me to elaborate more on that.
Yeah, I can understand the process. What I don't understand is how, if you don't do the meditation till afterwards, or you leave meditation to later on in your life or your spiritual path, when you come to direct your mind with the information that you've gathered through Shravanam and Mananam, your mind will be all over the place if it's not controlled. So you won't be able to direct it unless you've meditated before, would be my objection.
No, on the contrary, if you don't have a context where to meditate upon and to focus your meditation. The meditation is like a ship in the ocean without direction, without a captain. So we need a direction in meditation. We need a purpose. We need something to work on. Not just I'm closing my mind, I'm closing my eyes and I'm trying to relax and get some peace and get some silence or thoughtlessness. This is not the purpose, because you cannot do Atma Vichara, which means self-knowledge, only with meditation. It is impossible. I have used in previous satsangas or classes the example of learning a foreign language, or the example of wanting to learn how to swim, or how to do bicycling, or how to be just a plumber. What you can do is to go in a master plumber and become his helper, and the master plumber will guide you to learn these skills. But if you say, I will just meditate and I will become a plumber, that will be completely absurd, you know. So it is the same with self-knowledge. Nobody said that you cannot meditate in parallel. Of course you can meditate together with Sravanam and Mananam, but not before you receive a preparatory teaching. So a lot of paths, they start their instructions with meditation before giving a context of teachings. This is completely wrong, at least for the path of Advaita Vedanta. And of course, the meditation process should also be a guidance, through the guidance of the Guru. Because a lot of people, as I mentioned earlier, they believe that by doing some breathing exercises, pranayamas, or by taking a particular asana, a sitting posture, or by doing kriyas, particular spiritual practices, that this can be enough for meditation, or by just remaining in thoughtlessness. So thoughtlessness for Advaita Vedanta is not the suggestion. Thoughtlessness, or a state of peacefulness and a state of not binding thoughts, it is very welcome, and it is a very wonderful tool and a preparation for the actual state of meditation. So we can start by receiving Sravanam and Mananam, doing this process, and in parallel, we can also meditate and do the Vedantic meditation in Nididhyasanam. But not only to start through the meditation without being prepared with Sravanam and Mananam. And of course, this is a very big confusion in all spiritual paths about the thoughtlessness and the silence. It is a very big discussion whether this is enough or not. And for Advaita Vedanta, it was never enough, and it will never be enough just to be in a state of thoughtlessness. Why? Because you cannot learn anything at all through that. Through thoughtlessness, you can absorb, you can soak up yourself and the mind and the subconscious mind in the teachings that you have received from Sravanam and Mananam processes, but not by itself alone. And yes, it is a very big discussion, a very big topic that it needs a lot of clarification. A lot of circles, spiritual circles, especially New Age, which is a complete fake path. There is no such path as New Age, but still, there are so many people, millions of people, that they feel they follow a path called New Age, but in reality, it is only an illusion, because the New Age is just a mixture of a lot of paths together and a westernization of all these paths. And actually, it will lead only to confusion, darkness, and ignorance. So we suggest in Advaita Vedanta that somebody should focus in one path and in one guru. Because then, like the laser, this focusing will bring the result of self-realization, moksha. But if you try to meditate and to believe that this is enough, and to combine it with some lectures or some retreats, without scriptural study and without Shravanam and Mananam, it will be a disaster. You will end up in a complete confusion, darkness, and ignorance. Because there is no direction. That's why in Advaita Vedanta we believe not only in thoughtlessness, but also in the direction of the thoughts. So we direct the thoughts towards the Mahavakyams, the absolute truth, such as Aham Brahmasmi or Tat Tvamasi. And then this will bring results. This will bring self-knowledge.
Yeah. Yes, I understand that you need to direct your thoughts. And otherwise, how can you realize the meaning of these great statements? I was merely trying to point out that is it not better to have prepared before you do nididhyasana and other types of meditation, like just calming the mind down and going into silence before you do nididhyasana? Otherwise, if you just go straight into nididhyasana without any preparation, will your mind just not be controlled enough? You'll be out of control.
That is useful. The problem is when millions of people, they stop in this peacefulness and they don't continue and with this leap to enter the self-inquiry, Atma Vichara, after this peacefulness, this calmness in the mind. And they stay and they enjoy this peacefulness. So it is wonderful if you can enjoy for some time. There is no problem with that. But if you believe that because you experience peace or bliss, this is self-knowledge, that is a huge mistake. Because you are not, you will never be well enough prepared for the ultimate state of self-realization, enlightenment, or moksha, which is to recognize and to be convinced on a permanent state of what you call yourself or your true nature. And this is a huge trap for a lot of people. They enjoy the peace, they enjoy the thoughtlessness, and they stay there. They don't even wonder what is aware of this thoughtlessness, of this peace. And this is the big difference. You are what is accommodating, revealing, or illumining even the absence of thoughts, even the thoughtlessness or peacefulness. You are the background or the substratum of this peacefulness or thoughtlessness or silence or bliss. You are what is accommodating this state. And you must find out, you must see that. You must completely be in a permanent state of recognition and conviction that I am this substratum. I'm not the thoughtlessness, I'm not the peacefulness. I'm that which is able to accommodate all these states of mind. Because these states are only states of the mind. It's not your true nature. So otherwise, somebody will go to the deep sleep every day with medicines, and one day he will become a jnani, a self-realized one or an enlightened one. Why not do then that? Give some medicines, and for 30 years, 40 years, 50 years, somebody is entering this deep sleep without dreams, and one day we stop giving these medicines and he wake up and now he's a jnani, an enlightened one, a self-realized one. Can that be possible?
No.
Not at all. So this is the confusion, the great confusion, especially in the New Age and in many other spiritual paths, that the key is thoughtlessness or silence or the bliss and peace that you can experience. But it can be a huge trap. Millions of people are in this trap. They even accumulate a lot of pride. Millions of people. They may say to others, oh, I experience in my meditation such bliss and such peace. And I know that I am a realized one. I know that I am an enlightened one. Somebody who are now in moksha, who attained moksha. Because I experience so much bliss, so much peace. So that's all. But actually, this is just the beginning. And somebody should go further, should recognize and being convinced on a permanent state that I am the witnessing consciousness, Satchitananda. I am Brahman. I'm not this peacefulness, this silence in the mind. Whether it is a pleasurable state or not, this is not what I am. I am that which is even beyond the states of the mind, that which is there even when there is no activity in the mind or the absence of the activity of the mind or mind itself. So whether there are phenomena in the mind or activation of the mind or not, you are not the mind. The mind are only appearances. The name is vrittis in Sanskritam, vrittis, which means waves in consciousness. But the waves are just an appearance, like the waves in the ocean. The essence is the water, not the waves. The waves are only an appearance. The essence of the waves is only water. And only then we can speak about meditation and Atma Vichara, self-inquiry and self-knowledge, Jnana Yoga, when we can have this permanent recognition and conviction that there is only Brahman and this is what I am. This cannot be achieved with only a peaceful state or a thoughtlessness. It needs to go further. It needs to do self-inquiry through the guidance of a guru and a guru parampara and the scriptural study. All are indispensable. You cannot remove any of the constituents of the recipe, because if you remove something from the recipe that is given from the scriptures, then the recipe will not work. It will be a failure. So the scriptures themselves, the holy authentic lineage itself is recommending all these constituents of the recipe, and all are indispensable. I don't know if you want more to elaborate. Your microphone. You must open your microphone.
Oh God. I was talking rubbish anyway, so luckily. We've talked about before that even the problem is, even if you do get a peaceful state in your meditation, the silent state is not an antidote to the ego. So 10 minutes later, after you finish your meditation, you can be angry again. It's very temporary. That's the problem. It's okay. Oh yeah, I enjoy this meditation, but it's not enough because the ego is still there.
Exactly. And how we can remove the ego? Only through self-inquiry, Atma Vichara, under the guidance of the scriptural study, and Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam, the Vedantic meditation. There is no other way, because the scriptures and the guidance from the Guru and the Guru Parampara will reveal to you that the ego, first of all, does not exist. There is no such an identity called ego or even the mind. The mind is only a bundle of thoughts. There is no existence of that we call mind. There is existence only of Brahman. There is only Brahman. The beingness is not in the mind. The beingness is in Brahman, in impersonal consciousness awareness, the substratum. And when we have these thoughts appearing and disappearing, are only an appearance, not something which is which has inherent existence. So the scriptures and the Guru Parampara will reveal all these truths to us, and then through the Sravanam will reveal all these truths to us. And then with Mananam, we can do the clearing of all our doubts and questions, again with the Guru, with Satanga, with the Guru. And then with the Nididhyasanam, the Vedantic meditation, we will soak up ourselves in this truth and make these truths our own truths and internalize them, and being permanently recognizing and in conviction that this is our truth, not anymore something that we have listened from somebody or from a YouTube video, but it is now my truth. I don't have any doubt anymore that I am Brahman. There is only Brahman. There is only consciousness awareness. There is no ego. There is no mind. There is no universe. There are no other beings. There are no others. There is only me. Me, of course, as the self with capital S, which is the infinite impermanent consciousness awareness. So by recognizing this, all that is to be known is now known. There is no need to know anything else anymore. It is also mentioned in the Upanishads. By knowing this truth, the absolute truth, that there is only Brahman and this is what I am, then there is no need to be known anything else. And there is no need to do anything else. Actually, you are always that, but you don't recognize it and you don't have this conviction. And the purpose of Sravanam, Mananam, and Nididhyasanam is to unveil these false conceptions, these false notions that I am an individual or an individual body-mind complex, a human being or a soul or an individual identity, distinct from God, distinct from universe, distinct from others, distinct from Brahman. All this is the false conceptions, the false notions that are veiling the absolute truth of our true nature. So this has to be removed. Advaita Vedanta will not make you Brahman. You are already Brahman. Advaita Vedanta will help you to remove the false notions that I am something else, and there is the existence of something else apart from Brahman. It will not do anything else than that. Is revealing through the Guru Parampara and the Guru and the scriptural study, the Upanishads, that what you are is Brahman, and what exists is only Brahman. And there is only beingness. There are no beings. There is no universe in reality. The universe is only an appearance, only superimpositions, names and forms, Namarupa, in Brahman, in consciousness, due to Maya, due to illusion. So then, when you recognize through the appropriate procedures your real nature, your real self, then the meditation is real, is something that it is worthy to do. But to stay and to believe that I will be peaceful and in thoughtlessness and in silence and that is enough, no, that is a huge confusion and ignorance. And this is due to the so-called non-duality teachers and the so-called non-duality path and the so-called New Age path and the so-called Neo-Advaita or Neo-Vedanta. But all these are just means for some people, sneaky people, to make money and to attract egos. The egos, the body-mind complexes, they don't wish to struggle for self-knowledge. They want to be comfortable. They want to continue their, how they call it, ego gratification, sense gratification, having fun. Sometimes, yes, I have this guru, he's very famous, and I'm listening to his videos, I'm buying his webinars, I'm buying his retreats, I'm buying his books, and that is enough. I continue my life as before. I don't need to do anything else because this teacher told me that I am Brahman. So he told me that I don't need to do anything more than that. And then, if this ego will have to deal with a very difficult circumstance in life or a very challenging situation, then everybody knows that this person is completely deluded, believing that he is a spiritual person, he has a guru, he follows a spiritual life, and actually he managed only to have pride and to believe that he is better than all the other common people or superior. Yes, it is a very, very big discussion. Certainly, it is wonderful to create a peaceful state in the mind as a preparation. Certainly, it is a wonderful tool and a preparation to take an asana, a very nice sitting posture for meditation. Certainly, it helps to do pranayamas, breathing exercises, because the mind is very much connected with the breathing. Certainly, it is very useful to relax the mind and the thoughts. But after that, you have to go further. You have to realize, to find out, who am I? And that who am I will never come by asking only the question. As a lot of millions of people, they ask the questions like parrots all day long. Who am I? 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 And my guru's guru, Swami Paramarthananda, he said, yes, the answer will come. I am a fool, I am a fool, I am a fool, I am a fool. This will be the only result for that. I'm sorry. We'll never have any other result by just asking this question and not doing all the appropriate procedures. Of course, the scriptures themselves, Upanishads themselves, they speak for Atma Vichara, self-inquiry. But they also say in full details how the Atma Vichara should be done. Not alone, not by asking the question, who am I all day long like a parrot, but through the guidance of a guru who himself was a sishya in another guru, a student or disciple, in a safe environment of a guru parampara, through scriptural study, Sravana, Mananam, Nididhyasana, through a moral lifestyle according to the Dharma Sastram, and so on and so forth. all the details are already there in the scriptures from beginningless time. Peacefulness is not enough. To ask the question like a parrot all day long, who am I, will never be enough. To see only videos in YouTube will never be enough. To read some books and to buy books about Advaita Vedanta or in chatting in Facebook will never be enough. You will only end up in confusion, in ignorance and darkness. The scriptures themselves, they are very much stretching the point that all this spiritual work should be done under the guidance of a competent guru on a length of time, systematically using all the methodology of the scriptures, using all the tools, using the scriptures, using the tools of prakarana granthas, which are scriptures which are meant to help in the understanding of the Upanishads, written from great acharyas, great gurus, and so on and so forth. So this discussion is very big and very, very important.
Okay, thank you very much for your great answer. That's all for me.
I see Philippa, she has a question. Yes, you can go ahead.
Please. The Atman, is that myself?
Exactly.
Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Atman is synonymous to Brahman. And this is your true nature. And Atman or Brahman is consciousness awareness. And it is impersonal, beginningless, spaceless, formless, timeless. This is your true nature. But of course, this now you hear it like an information. This has to be the truth in the heart of your heart, should be internalized. How? Through all these procedures that I have mentioned, Sravana, Manana, and Nididhyasana, through the guidance of a guru. And then there is guarantee from the scriptures themselves, from the Guru Parampara itself, that sooner or later, you can say, I am Brahman, I am Atman. There is no doubt for that. I have never been anything else, and there is only that. There is guarantee, but only if somebody follows the beginningless scriptures of Upanishads. If you follow these instructions and you don't miss something, you don't delete something, and you follow all these indispensable constituents of the recipe, then there is guarantee. Somebody else?
Me again.
Yes, please.
The four qualifications. One of them, it says, the second one, it says, next comes renunciation of the enjoyment of the fruits of actions here and thereafter. And when Swamiji is talking about this, if I remember correctly, he's talking a lot about detachment. And also in many of the scriptures, including the first verse of the ASHTAVAKRA GITA, it's like, the senses are poison. It's another big question, another big topic, but just to clarify, it's like Swamiji says, you don't run away from the world and live in the Himalayas. The poison is the emotional dependence, not the object itself.
Exactly. There are the desires themselves, we cannot all judge them as all harmful. For example, the desire of Satchitananda to teach and to propagate Sanatana Dharma in general and Advaita Vedanta in particular, can we say that this desire is bad?
No.
Not at all. For example, the desire of my guru, Swami Paramarthananda, to teach 40 years and focusing on propagating these liberating teachings, is it a bad desire?
No.
No. The desire to help an old person that falling down in the streets, and the desire to go and help her to stand up. Is this a bad desire? No. And many, many others. So desires themselves are not all harmful. But when you have a desire which is binding, then this is perpetuating the false belief that I am the body-mind complex. It maintains the misconceptions that what you are is a limited human being. And of course, when you have some desires for surviving, also it is not bad, it is not harmful. A desire to have a nice dish of food is not, it cannot bind you easily, unless you say that I can be happy only if I have this kind of dishes. Otherwise, I will not be fulfilled or happy, or I cannot feel well if I don't have this kind of food every day. Or the desire for alcohol, for example. Of course, it is harmful. And alcohol should never be used for a mumuksu, a desirer of liberation, because it makes the mind tamasic, or sometimes rajasic, but never sattvic. So there are desires which are conducive to self-realization, enlightenment, or moksha, and there are desires which are not conducive. The desire, for example, to be all the time extroverted and always dealing with people, always wanting to be with others, not standing to be alone, don't like to be alone, don't like to stay in solitude, but rather you want to be all the time with others, and you want to be all the time with friends, and the desire to accumulate wealth, for example, the desire to satisfy exaggerations of the senses. But what is the key on this? What is the solution for desires? When desires can be solved as a problem? My guru, Swami Paramarthananda, said that the way, and it is a wonderful way, and it is something that can solve a lot of problems. So you make a desire a preference. I prefer to eat this dish, but if I don't eat this dish, it's no problem. I prefer to create an ashram, but if I will finally not be able to do so, it's fine. It was not meant to be. It was not prarabdha karma to be. I desire to get married and make a family. But if my prarabdha karma doesn't have this option, I will not say that I'm not fulfilled or I'm missing something, and I will always be unhappy. So if you try all the time to make the desires a preference rather than binding, then this can solve a lot of problems. And also desires are coming due to the misconception that I am a body-mind complex. They're coming due to ignorance of the self. Because if you know if you have this permanent recognition and conviction that I am the self with capital S, I'm Brahman, infinite impersonal awareness consciousness, then there are no desires anymore. Because the self is fulfilled. Brahman is fulfilled. Brahman don't need anything at all. Brahman don't have prarabdha karma. Brahman don't need anything. So the one who always have desires and who always needs to create detachment, vairagyam, is the one who actually never existed. So the one who has all the problems and all the suffering and all the prarabdha karma actually never existed. Brahman consciousness awareness never had any karma, never had any desires. The one who is always with problems is the non-existent person, the non-existent individual apparent identity. And we must see that. We must overcome this delusion. All the desires and all the problems and all the suffering is due to the misconception, the false notion that I am an individual identity. The moment this is removed, there is only permanent happiness, bliss, and peace, and the lack of suffering. So next time, for example, try to, when you have a problem of any kind, and a kind of emotional suffering or mental suffering, try to stay in silence for some seconds or some minutes according to your capacity, and ask yourself, if I don't think something, is there any problem? Is it possible to have a problem without thinking? It is impossible. All the problems are due to the thinking. Without thinking, there is no problem. There is somebody who has AIDS or a very strong sickness, and all day long he's suffering. And he is always repeating this suffering story, this narrative in his mind. Oh, I have AIDS, and what I will do, I will suffer, what will happen with my family, how the kids will live without me if I die. And all day long, this DVD or CD is playing, or MP3, playing on and on and on and on. And then there comes the deep sleep without dreams. What happens now with this suffering? Is it there? Not at all. There is no any more suffering. Now, when this person will wake up, the DVD will start again, or the MP3. And again and again, it is about the thinking. It is about the narrative, about the story that somebody is saying to him or herself. You may have a relationship. You may stop this relationship. Your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your wife or your husband will leave you to go and make a relationship with another person, and you may suffer a lot. And then after 1 week, you meet another person who is 1,000 times better. And then you say, it was fantastic that this relationship finished because now I have a person which is better for me, who is better for me. So wasn't this suffering completely illusory until you find a new person? It was self-imposed on you, by you, not by somebody else, by God or an external factor.
Yeah, because if you'd known that next person who was 1,000 times better was coming, you wouldn't have suffered for 1 second.
Yes. So actually, you see the door which is closed on the back of you, but you don't see the door which may open in front of you. and you're stuck looking backwards. But who told you that what happens now that looks awful and the sad story and the sad and unpleasurable situation will not turn out to be the best for you in 1 week, in 1 month, in 1 year? Why you trust the mind when the mind says that this is a disaster? That is not the truth. All happens for the highest good of self-knowledge. Nothing happens by accident. All this is just for lessons. Whatever appears as an unpleasurable situation will lead to self-knowledge sooner or later. That's why also the great sage Ramana Maharishi said suffering leads to God or to self-realization. Because when somebody is drunk with pleasures and everything goes well in every sector of life, like family sector, relationship sector, career sector, health sector, everybody becomes drunk and enjoys this period. But wait a little bit. Sooner or later, one of the factors, or more than one, most of the times, will be a disaster. And only then the person will start asking, why to me? Why this happened to me? Why this misery? Why this accident? Why this sickness? Why this bankruptcy? Millions and millions of people started a spiritual path and the process of self-realization, self-knowledge, because of great suffering. And also some others because of incredible wealth or reputation or fame, like stars of Hollywood, for example. They have everything, but why they are in misery and suffering? Or very rich people, why they look so unhappy and they look so unsatisfied, and they are never satisfied. Even they want to earn profits, even against humanity. What to say for such situations? There are so many demons in this planet which are so happy, so unhappy and so unfulfilled. Even they have everything, reputation and money and everything, but still they are unfulfilled. Why? Because they believe that they are this body-mind complex. They believe they are an individual identity, distinct from others. This will never bring them happiness, will never bring them peace. They will always suffer. It is logical. Even. You don't need philosophy, you don't need Advaita Vedanta to see that when you believe that you are distinct from others and you can earn against others things for yourself, this will bring always misery and suffering. It is just logic. You don't need any Advaita Vedanta, any spiritual path for that. You will always be unfulfilled. You will always be in insecurity because you invest for your security in worldly things, in impermanent things. So many great masters, they taught about impermanence, and so many scriptures. So if you invest in anything else except self-knowledge, in your true nature, which is full of bliss, full of peace, full of happiness, and instead you focus on investing in worldly things which are mithya, impermanent, then you are investing in your disaster, in your suffering, sooner or later. So in VIVEKACUDAMANI, you can see that this is very important. All that we say today and we discuss, we will see later on in VIVEKACUDAMANI with full details. What means that it creates darkness when you are slave to the senses. What can help you to self-knowledge and what cannot help you? All this, what we have said today, it's like a summary of Vivekacudamani. And we will see later on all this in more details. So how much time is left for today's class?
Not much.
So if there's no any question, maybe Andrew can read a little bit.
It's 3 minutes.
3 minutes. So let's close for tonight and study as much as you can. Write down your questions for the next week's class and keep patience. The teaching is not easy. It needs patience. It needs to contemplate throughout the day and to focus on the teaching. Avoid anything else as much as you can. Avoid YouTube videos, avoid books, avoid anything else, and focus on this scripture. This will bring you the highest result, the highest understanding. So thank you very much.
Can I just say one thing? I think I mentioned it before about the app. What's the app called? Sastra
Prakasika is an application of my guru's disciples, where you can download Vivekacudamani amongst other scriptures as well, and it is highly recommended. So while you are in the bus and you are traveling somewhere, you can have your headphones and listen to the wonderful teachings my guru, Swami Paramarthananda. I highly recommend it to you, the application Sastra Prakasika. But again, it's better to focus on this scripture for now. And if you are participating also in ASHTAVAKRA GITA every Sunday, you can also download this one. And because both of them are very advanced scriptures, Satchitananda will be happy to help all of you, even through private satsangas, and also to help in possible personal topics. And you can arrange private satsangas with my best Sishya, Andrew. And of course, as you know, Satchitananda never charges. Everything is always free of charge. So feel free to organize with Andrew also private satsangas, and also feel free to arrange to receive Diksha, initiation of the sacred mantra that I have received from the Sringeri Jagadguru Sannidhanam. And all of this you can arrange with Andrew. Okay, once more, namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for your participation.
See you later, everybody.
Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.